Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel, MD, General Physician. I'm not a hematologist. Yes, today we are going to discuss on one of the very interesting topic which I felt it is very important. Good number of time we miss those conditions and we misdiagnose and treat only as iron deficiency anemia. That is, we are going to talk today regarding microcytic hypochromic anemia and what are the condition which comes under microcytic hypochromic anemia and little what is the difference, etc., because the treatment in each condition is different. So we'll be discussing under that heading. Before we start this particular video lectures, all my video lectures are for educative purpose. They are very useful for your exams, for your oral exam as well as theory exams, and it will be also helpful to you in your everyday practice or during private practice. So by meaning itself it is very clear. Microcytic means when RBC size is less than 80 femtoliter, we call that as microcytic. Whenever we mention anemia, means taken for granted that a classical anemia will be having decreased hemoglobin, decreased hematocrit, and decrease in packed cell volume, that is hematocrit, plus decrease in RBC count. Because hemoglobin is less, the RBC will appear pale, we call it hypochromic. So we are going to discuss regarding RBC which are small in size, less than 80, which is going to have hypochromic anemia, and there are good number of conditions which will come under these headings. So we'll be going through that as we pass on. We'll be discussing under this different heading: approach to microcytic hypochromic, etiology, pathophysiology, clinical features, investigations, differential diagnosis, and then what we call as, in brief, some of the common condition management as well as complications. So by definition, a microcytic hypochromic anemia means MCV is less than 80 femtoliters, hemoglobin is low, hematocrit is low, and hemoglobin in RBC, which you can make out by when you get CBC report, MCH is low, MCHC is also low. When you get all this finding together, we label that as a microcytic hypochromic anemia. And this is one simple way to find out some of the groups, because hemoglobin is made up of heme and globin. So any condition which reduces the formation of heme, which can be because of iron, we call two classical condition: iron deficiency anemia and anemia of chronic disorders or chronic inflammation, that will produce iron deficiency, and iron will not be incorporated to form hemoglobin. And there is a second group which also leads to a defective heme production, that is because of a protoporphyrin production deficiency, and that will happen classical in case of a sideroblastic anemia. So these two will give rise to what we call as a heme synthesis will be affected, and if the globin synthesis is affected, we call that as a thalassemia, which can be alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia. So this will be in general a group of disorders which will give rise to microcytic anemia. One way of remembering microcytic anemia groups we call as a TALES. T stands for thalassemia, A stands for anemia of chronic disease, or we call chronic inflammation, I stands for iron deficiency, L stands for lead poisoning, and S stands for sideroblastic anemia. So that we call is a TALES. Another way to differentiate is two groups. One, defective heme synthesis that consists of iron deficiency anemia in a late stage, lead poisoning, sideroblastic anemia, and anemia of chronic disease. This will result into defective heme synthesis, while globin synthesis will be alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia. We are not including other groups. We'll be discussing thalassemia in separate lecture. By and large, next lecture which we follow this. So this is the etiology of two different groups. So TALES, defective heme synthesis, and globin. We have already told you that any condition which results in defective hemoglobin formation or decrease in hemoglobin synthesis, which may be because of heme or maybe because of globin synthesis, it will end up with microcytic group. We can divide into three depending upon the MCV value. Less than 80 we call microcytic, MCV remains same, we call as a normocytic, and MCV if it is high we call as a macrocytic. If there is a decreased hemoglobin synthesis, invariably it will end up with what we call as a microcytic group, and that these are the two groups which will give rise to. So you can remember either by TALES or by two groups, that is heme synthesis and globin synthesis. Hello, hello, हाँ 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 પછી ફોન કરજે, પછી ફોન કરજે. हाँ हाँ अच्छा. So etiology of iron deficiency anemia you can divide into two groups. One, where there is increased iron store, decrease absorption or decrease intake and absorption, that is GI tract causes. This is decrease in iron store. This will be some of the groups. Increased loss and increased demand. You can divide into these four groups. Decreased iron store very commonly in prematures, twins, small for dates, while increased demand will be in premature, low birth weight and adolescent and growing child. Also during pregnancy there will be increased demand. Decreased absorption and decreased intake, delayed weaning, malnutrition, poor iron diet, malabsorption syndrome, particularly tropical sprue, Crohn's disease, chronic infection, GI tract surgery, etc. Increased loss is very commonly in India, very common worm infestation, particularly hookworm infestation, GI bleeding very frequently, piles, fissure, fistula, and upper GI bleeding, particularly in portal hypertension and also in GUDU. Another very common is malaria, peptic ulcer, diverticulitis, bleeding disorders or bleeding diastasis, feto-maternal hemorrhage, repeated venous sampling, and chronic diarrhea. All these will be accounting for iron deficiency anemia. In general, any person who comes to you with low hemoglobin will have pallor, anorexia, irritability in an early stage, and in a late stage, as person starts developing further decrease in hemoglobin, person will develop palpitation, shortness of breath, even anginal episodes, easy fatigability, and reduced exercise tolerance. This particular group of people can have pallor, conjunctiva will be pale. Some of the person who, if he develops secondary to malignancy, particularly Hodgkin's, they will have lymphadenopathy, easy fatigability, hemolytic anemia, which leads to anemia, can have icterus. Person who is having hemolytic or thalassemia group will have a bony tenderness. Secondary to decreased hemoglobin oxygen supply, they will develop dyspnea. Hepatosplenomegaly will be very common in a person with certain congenital group, particularly say thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, and also in the myeloproliferative disorders we call as a bone marrow disorders, dysplasia, like chronic myeloid leukemia. Hello. Jai Samnarayan. Okay. Chokkis. Okay. Chalo, male. So this will be the most common clinical symptoms in general with any anemia. So suspect a person having anemia if he is having irritability, fatigue, weakness, dizziness, palpitation, recurrent infection, lack of concentration, etc. And these are many other symptoms which can be there in a person with severe anemia. Icterus will be common with hemolytic anemia, skin findings, respiratory finding, muscular weakness, change in a stool color, central findings like fatigue, dizziness, fainting episodes, hypotension, palpitation, tachycardia, chest pain, angina, even sometime person can have an acute MI, and even there will be hepatosplenomegaly. Particularly if the person comes to you with pallor, angular stomatitis, glossitis, koilonychia and platynachia, do suspect iron deficiency anemia. So fatigue, pallor, koilonychia, and if there is a platynachia, suspect iron deficiency anemia. And there are other things which can also help you to suspect iron deficiency anemia. One another thing which is quite common is dysphagia. And when the iron deficiency anemia is associated with dysphagia, we call as a Plummer-Vinson syndrome or Peter-Kelly syndrome. And very frequently, good number of time in children, you get abnormal appetite. We call as pica. That is another very common symptom which you can come across in a person with a iron deficiency anemia. Any person who comes to with anemia, always look at what we call as confirmation by low hemoglobin, low hematocrit, and look at MCV and look at retic count. If retic count is more than 2, it usually will go in favor of a hemolytic anemia. But if retic count is less than 2, look at now MCV, and then depending on MCV, divide into two groups, mainly microcytic hypochromic and macrocytic hypochromic. And there is a third group we call as a normocytic normochromic, and that will be very frequently in a person with an acute blood loss. We are not going to discuss in that particular group. We are going to discuss mainly in a microcytic hypochromic anemia. And one of the most common condition which will produce microcytic hypochromic anemia will be iron deficiency anemia, and another will be thalassemia, and another very common is sideroblastic anemia and chronic infection and lead poisoning. We'll be discussing regarding those particular groups, sideroblastic anemia, etc. So we'll have 4 common group: iron deficiency anemia, anemia because of chronic disease, particularly chronic inflammation, thalassemia, sideroblastic anemia, and even we include lead poisoning. And in this particular group, you should be able to differentiate those groups, because good number of time iron study helps you a lot to differentiate between those groups, because in iron deficiency, we'll be discussing in a separate slide. In an iron deficiency, TIBC is low, ferritin is also low, and even iron, total iron capacity, or we call iron level in blood, will be low, while in a case of a chronic disease, it may be normal to high in ferritin, and TIBC will be normal or reduced. In case of sideroblastic anemia, the iron, that is ferritin level, will be elevated and TIBC will be normal. We'll be talking of that again in detail. So we have got a 4 common variety: iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, anemia because of chronic disease, particularly chronic inflammation, which will be including rheumatoid arthritis, even malignancy, etc. And fourth group, sideroblastic and even lead poisoning or lead toxicity. We know that in iron deficiency anemia, ferritin will be low, TIBC will be increased, iron level will be low, and person will have a what we call as a ratio or saturation will be less than 18%. In thalassemia, ferritin will be normal, TIBC will be normal, iron level will be normal, and a person who needs repeated blood transfusion, they might develop a iron overload. In that case, iron level may be high. And in a peripheral smear, in case of thalassemia, you will get a basophil stippling, which will be very peculiar because of a messenger RNA which is seen in peripheral RBC. In a anemia of chronic disease, ferritin will be normal. In some cases, ferritin level may be elevated. TIBC will be reduced because iron cannot be utilized. Iron is present, but iron cannot be utilized. And iron level available will be low. And specifically, if you see, the saturation will be more than 18%. In sideroblastic anemia, ferritin will be high, TIBC will be normal, and iron level will be elevated. This becomes a very important clue to differentiate in a microcytic anemia these 4 groups very easily. So do remember that in iron deficiency anemia, TIBC is elevated, while other two, that is ferritin and iron level, are reduced. While in case of sideroblastic anemia, ferritin is high, iron level is high, TIBC is normal. In thalassemia, all the 3 are normal. So invariably the iron study in thalassemia may be normal, but you will see basophil stippling in peripheral smear, and in a bone marrow you will find different types of RBC. While in a sideroblastic anemia, in a bone marrow you will see ring sideroblast. While in anemia of chronic disorders, usually you will get TIBC low, iron level will be low, and ferritin level will be normal or may be elevated. This is the way we try to differentiate between the 4 groups. This is further detail. It is dividing iron deficiency, chronic anemia, thalassemia major, thalassemia minor, lead poisoning, and normal electrophoresis. What will be there? So this will give you an idea that what are the different way in which you differentiate. Mainly if you do the serum iron level, TIBC level, and ferritin will help to differentiate very easily iron deficiency, anemia of chronic disorders, then thalassemia and sideroblastic anemia. Usually very rarely we come across lead poisoning where all the 3 are normal and you will have a basophil stippling. While in case of a hemoglobin electrophoresis, usually by and large, in case of thalassemia, you will find abnormal. While in case of a sideroblastic anemia, hemoglobin electrophoresis will be normal. Iron deficiency also, electrophoresis will be normal. We'll be discussing regarding thalassemia group in next lecture. Same thing, these 4 groups in detail it has been given. At your leisure time you can go through. What I have shown you in this particular most simplified form you can remember and you can easily differentiate. Now as far as iron deficiency anemia is concerned, it becomes very difficult because there are 3 different stages. We usually detect in this stage where there is a clear-cut iron deficiency. The person with a pre-latent, that is reduction in the iron store, without reduction in serum iron level, means stores are depleted but the iron level in the blood are normal. So if you do the iron level in blood, they will be invariably normal. So hemoglobin will be normal, MCV will be normal, iron absorption is increased, transferrin saturation is normal, serum ferritin level will be reduced, marrow iron level will be reduced. Usually we never go for this study, but here you can see that ferritin level starts reducing. So if you start getting ferritin level reduced, do suspect pre-latent stage of iron deficiency anemia. As you go further in a latent variety, hemoglobin is normal, MCV is normal. Now you can see that TIBC is increasing. So TIBC starts increasing, ferritin level is still low, transferrin saturation is also low, and in marrow, if you see the iron is almost absent. And classical iron deficiency anemia, now hemoglobin will start dropping, MCV will be reduced because now the size of the RBC is reduced to increase the exposure of hemoglobin to oxygen. TIBC is elevated as it is seen in latent variety as well as iron deficiency. Ferritin level will be reduced in all the three stages. But if only ferritin is reduced, hemoglobin is normal, MCV is normal, do keep it in mind it will be pre-latent or a latent variety, where in a latent variety you will have a TIBC being elevated and you will have a now transferrin saturation will be also reduced, which is also reduced here, that is in a latent stage as well as iron deficiency anemia, while it will be normal in case of a pre-latent stage, and marrow iron will be absent. So even if you do the iron level in the blood, they will be also reduced. So classical picture in iron deficiency anemia, MCV is reduced, MCH is reduced, MCHC is also reduced, iron level in the blood is reduced, TIBC is only increased, transferrin saturation is reduced, ferritin level is reduced. So you can see that all are reduced except TIBC. So TIBC is elevated. And if you look at the WBC platelets, they will be normal. Reticulocytes will be also normal. RDW may be abnormal, which may be towards higher side. And in a peripheral smear, you will get hypochromic microcytic anemia. And in good number of conditions, you might get anisocytosis and poikilocytosis. So this becomes a very useful when you get CBC and iron level studies. So it helps you to differentiate, and iron deficiency anemia is the most common cause of microcytic hypochromic anemia. Almost we say that more than 60-70% of the people of microcytic hypochromic anemia will be iron deficiency anemia, and in India most common cause. You should not forget, if any person who comes with a microcytic hypochromic anemia which is not responding to iron treatment and persistently there is a low level, do keep it in mind the other groups, that is thalassemia, anemia because of chronic disease, late toxicity, etc. So thalassemia becomes a second group, and very easy, there's a defective production because of alpha and beta globin chain production is reduced, and there is an ineffective hematopoiesis leading to hemolysis, hence spleen is enlarged. So if person comes to with anemia with hepatosplenomegaly, do keep it in mind it could be thalassemia. And in a peripheral smear, you get a basophil stippling, which is also seen in a case of a late toxicity. And if you do iron study will be normal. So if you get anemia, microcytic hypochromic anemia with iron study normal, keep it in mind thalassemia could be one of the cause of microcytic hypochromic anemia. In detail, we'll be dealing in separate lecture on thalassemia. Now, most important part, this is a very common condition which produces hypochromic microcytic anemia. But we usually skip this. We don't suspect, we miss those conditions. So anytime if you give iron orally and if person is not responding, do keep it in mind, could it be chronic disorders which is producing anemia, which can be hypochromic microcytic, and in that chronic inflammations, any chronic inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, tuberculosis, Crohn's disease. Another very common in a person who has been hospitalized and is having acute illness. So infection also comes very commonly. Then comes malignancy, and in malignancy, Hodgkin's most common. CKD is another common group which can be included in a chronic disorders. And don't forget alcoholics. Now in these particular groups, the diagnosis is always by exclusion. So once you rule out thalassemia, once you rule out iron deficiency anemia, etc., then you can suspect disease of chronic disorders. And in that, one important clue, ferritin level will be high, normal or high. There will be low serum iron level. Serum iron, in spite of normal iron store in a body, still the serum iron level will be low because it is not easily available, and TIBC will be also reduced. So if you get this combination, do keep it in mind, it can be chronic disorders. So anemia because of chronic disorder. And we don't go into detail that because of cytokine interleukin 6, hepcidin is being affected, and that hepcidin is responsible for providing iron from macrophages. So that is being affected. EPO becomes ineffective because of cytokines and interleukins. So either EPO is ineffective or bone marrow is ineffective to EPO. This becomes a second clue. And also iron is not available, and because iron is not available, you cannot have a heme synthesis, and heme synthesis cannot take place, hemoglobin will be low, so it will be hypochromic, and because it is having a decreased hemoglobin synthesis, over a period of time the RBC will become microcytic. And these are multiple factors which is responsible for decreased hemoglobin synthesis, and that leads to hypochromic microcytic anemia because of chronic disorders. And we have already mentioned in a previous slide that hemoglobin will be low, as such hematocrit will be low, MCV will be low, and that will be very common in rheumatoid arthritis, and we call as a chronic disorders, what we call as a free protoporphyrin will be increased because protoporphyrin does not have iron available. It cannot utilize iron, and that will give rise to free protoporphyrin level will be elevated. Reticulocyte count is reduced. WBC and platelet counts are normal. Serum iron level is reduced because iron which is there in the store is not provided to RBC for synthesis of hemoglobin. Ferritin level is elevated, and that is partly because of inflammatory process, because of interleukin 6 as an acute phase reactant, and this does not give you any idea, and TIBC level will be low. So when you get combination of these three, do suspect what we call as a anemia of chronic infection or chronic inflammation or chronic disease. And saturation will be normal, and if a person has got markedly reduced iron level, then saturation may be further reduced. Treatment of what we call as a chronic anemia or anemia because of chronic disease is treating the underlying condition if it is treatable. Parenteral iron, mainly in the form of IV preparations. You can use EPO. The person who is having a low EPO effect can be benefited. And now there is a trial which is going on and hepcidin antagonist can be utilized, which will increase the availability of iron for heme synthesis. We already discussed regarding iron deficiency anemia. So this is the most common cause of microcytic hypochromic anemia. Another condition which is very common is lead poisoning. Lead toxicity gives rise to inhibition of ALA dehydrase and ferrochelatase, which decreases heme synthesis, and because of that the hemoglobin synthesis is reduced, which gives rise to microcytic hypochromic anemia. And secondarily there is a basophil stippling, and this basophil stippling is because of messenger RNA which is seen in RBC. So lead toxicity will give rise to clinical finding which you can remember by lead. L-fall, gingival, we call lead lines in gingiva, we call bluish pigmentation in gum, and long bones epiphysis. E stands for encephalopathy and erythrocytes basophil stippling. Person will invariably have an encephalopathy findings. A for abdominal pain, and they good number of time goes to a surgeon. Lot of investigations are done and all are normal. So they come to you with what we call as a lead colic, and they will have anemia which will be microcytic hypochromic anemia, and in a peripheral smear you will get a basophil stippling. And D stands for neuropathy, where you get a wrist drop and foot drops, quite common. So when you get these findings along with anemia, do suspect lead toxicity. There is another group we call as a sideroblastic anemia. This sideroblastic, sidero means iron, blastic means immature cells, and anemia means decrease in healthy RBC. So you get an immature dysfunctional RBC which is containing iron pigments around the nucleus. Normally RBC never contains nucleus which is a fully mature. So this is a immature RBC containing a nucleus, and nucleus is surrounded by iron deposits which is present in mitochondria, and this forms a ring around the nucleus. That's why it is called ring, and these are called sidero containing iron, and these are premature cells. That's why it is called blast. So ring sideroblast, but these are seen only in bone marrow. You cannot see this in a peripheral blood smear. So sideroblasts are seen only in marrow. So bone marrow examination will give the diagnosis of ring sideroblast, which gives a diagnosis of sideroblastic anemia. So there is a decreased protoporphyrin synthesis, which is genetic. Decreased hemoglobin synthesis because protoporphyrin is not there, so heme cannot be synthesized. And decreased iron constellation. So iron is available, but iron cannot be deposited because there is no protoporphyrin, and that's why the iron remains in RBC, and that gives rise to what we call as a ring. There are different varieties we will be showing you in another slides. So that gives rise to ring sideroblast, and this is because of a defect in aminolevulinic acid synthetase. So that is defective. Synthase, sorry, this TA should be removed, synthase it is called. So there is a defect in that particular enzyme, and that gives rise to defective synthesis of protoporphyrin. And in this particular variety you will have decreased hemoglobin, decreased hematocrit, decreased MCH, and there will be formation of a ring sideroblast which will be seen in a marrow. So synthase is defective, aminolevulinic acid synthase, and because of that there is a decreased protoporphyrin synthesis. The causes of sideroblastic anemia is because of congenital defect we call as ALA synthetase defects, and it is a X-linked defects. Among acquired group, very commonly seen along with myelodysplastic syndromes, and there could be reversible conditions. This is non-reversible condition. There is reversible condition like alcohol, lead toxicity, vitamin B6, copper deficiency, and drugs like isoniazid, chloramphenicol. There are many other drugs which can also lead to what we call as a sideroblastic anemia, and one of the most common in anti-tubercular drug is isoniazid, and another common is chloramphenicol. Nowadays the use of chloramphenicol is not so much, hence we don't come across sideroblastic anemia due to that. It can be because of folate deficiency, primary pyridoxine deficiency, ethanol induced, etc. Out of this, these two are common, which are reversible defects. Even vitamin B6 deficiency is reversible, and even isoniazid related is also reversible. So that can be reversed back. So ring sideroblasts are seen in a bone marrow, and if you do the iron study level, iron in blood are elevated, ferritin level are normal, TIBC is normal. And if you do the genetic study, it is X-linked disorder. And among acquired group, we already mentioned all this acquired group, that is myelodysplastic and reversible condition. So in a reversible condition, isonex, alcohol, lead toxicity, copper deficiency, even hypothyroidism is included. We don't go into detail regarding a pathophysiology. If you are interested, at your leisure time you can go through. I am keeping this slide. This is in detail. You require succinylcholine coenzyme A. In presence of B6, it will convert into aminolevulinic acid by ALA synthetase. This is defective in sideroblastic anemia. And then this is ALA dehydrogenase, which will convert this into protoporphyrin, then protoporphyrin, and then it combines with iron to form heme. So we leave it here. So as this protoporphyrin is not manufactured because of ALA synthesis defect, iron accumulates in a RBC, and that is present in a mitochondria, and you will have an increased iron in RBC, giving rise to that what we call as a ring sideroblast. So heme level will be reduced, and secondary to that, hemoglobin level will be also reduced. That will give rise to what we call as a hypochromic microcytic anemia. And because of excess of iron level, now this can be also deposited in liver, kidney, heart, and pancreas. And secondary to increased level of iron, you can develop damage to liver, kidney, heart, and pancreas. And anemia can produce all symptom signs of anemia. And secondary to anemia, you will have an extra erythropoiesis, and that will be very frequently in a spleen, liver. So you will have an enlarged liver and enlarged spleen. As far as the clinical picture is concerned, anemia will be there, pallor, weakness, fatigue, SOB, angina. Because of extra erythropoiesis, hepatosplenomegaly. And because of hemosiderosis, liver will give rise to cirrhosis. Pancreas will give rise to diabetes mellitus. And laboratory finding wise, we have told you classical finding of all microcytic anemia means MCV will be less than 80, hemoglobin will be reduced, hematocrit will be reduced, MCHC will be low. In iron study, serum iron level will be elevated, ferritin level will be elevated, TIBC will be normal to low, and saturation will be increased. And in a peripheral smear, you will get a microcytic anemia, hypochromic anemia, and basophil stippling. While in a bone marrow, you will get ring sideroblast when you do a special iron stainings. And there is something called as a Mentzia index will be abnormal. As far as management is concerned, in case of iron deficiency anemia, You can replace iron in a pregnant woman in the form of parenteral, mainly in the by IV. Intramuscular is very rarely utilized. Mainly IV is utilized. Oral iron can be given in the form of 3 to 5 milligram per kilogram per day. If possible, treat the underlying cause, diet modification, and if required, then only blood transfusion. We call as decompensated person, and if there is an early heart failure, then blood transfusion may be given, and mainly in the form of Apexin. So oral iron, parenteral iron, and blood transfusion. Also, you can add EPO if you require erythropoietin, particularly in a person who has got a defective erythropoietin production or EPO is non-effective. In case of sideroblastic anemia, withdraw the causative drugs. You can supplement by pyridoxine. Pyridoxine deficiency will be benefited. Folic acid replacement also will give the benefit in some of the reversible condition, particularly iron deficiency and particularly Isonex toxicity. And if the person has got a chronic disease which is producing anemia because of chronic disease, treat the underlying condition, and erythropoietin may be effective, and nowadays they try even hepcidin antagonist. Treatment of reversible causes: alcohol, you can give B6. Isonex also will be benefited by B6, and if hemoglobin is tremendously low and person is decompensated, blood transfusion. Complications of iron deficiency anemia: in pregnant women, maternal mortality and fetal mortality is high. Increased risk of premature delivery and low birth weight fetus. Learning disability and delayed psychomotor development. Reduce work capacity. Impair immunity will give rise to risk of infections. Inability to maintain body temperature, and good number of time the person who has got the eating habits of pica may have late toxicity, good number of time. So I thank you all for taking out time. I know that your time is valuable, and I appreciate that for spending some of the time with me, and I feel that this topic will be very helpful to you. If you come across any person with anemia, don't take it for granted all are always because of iron deficiency anemia. Yes, in India, the most common cause is iron deficiency anemia unless proven otherwise. But after replacing iron, if person is not responding, do keep it in mind it could be because of anemia of chronic disorders or chronic disease. It could be sideroblastic, it could be thalassemia. And iron study becomes very, very helpful. No doubt it is costly, but if a person is affording, you should do simultaneously iron study, which will help to differentiate all the four groups, and it will be very, very beneficial because the treatment in all the four groups is different. We'll be discussing the thalassemia group in next lecture. So we'll be talking about that in the next lecture. See you in next lecture.